Crossing the Digital Divide by Bonnie Dickson. Access to the internet is an expensive thing to have, but it's even more expensive to not have. Not too long ago, the cost of a phone was barely a trickle out of a paycheck unless you were making international calls. The phone book, which arrived free and like clockwork every year, provided a list of restaurants, shops, and even the neighbor's phone number. If you were out and about and needed to make a call, you could use a public payphone. Television entertainment required turning on the television. If you were lucky and lived somewhere with several television stations, you could watch sports, news, shows, or even a movie as long as you turned on the television when they were playing, even if you didn't have cable or other premium television services. If you are reading this magazine, you lived that life. You know what it means to not have 24-hour access to sports and news, to not have the ability to watch any show anytime. You also know that not having someone contact you over the phone at any time, any place, barely put a strain on you. So it might not seem all that important that the highest number of people who don't have digital access are older Americans, and the highest numbers of older Americans who don't have that access are ethnic groups other than whites. But living a healthy life in America requires living a digital life, and crossing that divide is the number one way to improve healthcare for older Americans. This has become such a hot subject that researchers have studied computer use amongst older adults nearly since the World Wide Web stepped onto the public stage more than 20 years ago. A Humana Foundation study, the Older Adults Technology Survey, OATS, called Aging Connected, Exposing the Hidden Connectivity Crisis for Older Adults, found that exclusion followed racial, health, and disability lines. Reluctant users of the internet worried about privacy issues and never learned how to use the internet, or were afraid of the internet, often because they had no access at home to those services. Public libraries have tried to fill that gap, but it's not enough to have public libraries with those services. To reach those seniors, public and private sectors need to stand up. The OATS survey found that if you are over 65 and lack a high school diploma, live in poverty, are non-white or foreign-born, live alone, suffer from poor health or physical disability, are female, or live in a rural area, then digital privation is likely added to any burdens you endure. The writer of the study determined that the continued technology gap is the major civil rights challenge of the time. As we have seen during the pandemic, people without those services at home found severely restricted services when government shut down meeting places, libraries, and other access points. The Humana study calls on private and public sectors to drive access, learning opportunities and education to help those experiencing those disparities reach a level of confidence and competence to cross the digital divide. Understanding and responding to the factors that contributed to the reasons for and the challenges of bringing older adults into a corresponding relationship with technology that matches other generations can play a significant role in tailoring healthcare solutions and improving health services to older adults. In addition, as the larger world fully embraces technology, resources that were always available, such as printed materials, are disappearing, so that the folks who aren't embracing the digital age aren't just missing out on extras, they are missing out, period. More than 20 million seniors pushed through the pandemic, through isolation and health risks, with no access to health information. It's time that connectivity is as natural as public roads, as easy to access and as affordable as a public park.